Welcome to the Kingsford Flivver Flash. I'm Coach Van Duzen. This is season 22, episode 2, a senior spotlight. Sit down with Isaac Olson, Bryce Wenzel, and Charlie Christesen. In this episode of the Kingsford Flivver Flash, we have 3 seniors sitting down with us talking to us about their experiences with Flivver football. Let's get started. Well, thanks for coming on the podcast, guys. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. Well, let's just start out with some introductions. Just introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about your time here at Kingsford, and then give us a little football history while you're at it, because this is a football podcast. So, Bryce, we'll go ahead and start with you. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
How's it going? I'm Bryce Wenzel. I'm a senior at Kingsford. I've attended Kingsford my whole life. I was born and raised here. I started playing football in 5th grade. I took a break my 8th grade year, and then I came back my freshman year for varsity or high school football. And I've been playing all 3 years so far in high school football. I am looking forward to going into my 4th year of varsity football.
And while we're here, just tell us what positions you've played in football all through the different years.
I've played in Pop Warner League. I played anything from cornerback, quarterback, running back. I even played on a line a little bit next to Charlie. Then moving up to high school football, I switched to wide receiver and cornerback. And then for the last 2 years, I've been playing sort of a strong safety cornerback look and wide receiver as well.
Nice. Awesome. Charlie, go ahead and go next. Tell us a little bit about your time here at Kingsford and your football history.
Right. My name's Charlie. I've been going to Kingsford my whole life as well. I play this year. I'm playing offensive tackle, and I'm hoping I can also be a long snapper. I've been playing football since 5th grade, and throughout youth football, I've been offensive tackle and defensive end and long snapper. And I did have a 2-year freshman and JV year playing tight end on offense.
Nice. I like it. And you and Bryce played together on the offensive line, so there's a little connection there.
Yeah.
Down in the trenches. All right, Isaac, tell us about your time here at Kingsford and a little bit about your football history.
I'm Isaac Olson. I came to Kingsford all my life now. I started playing football in 5th grade, and I've actually played football. This will be my 8th season playing football with Charlie. So that's really cool. I'm looking forward to doing that. But in my early years in Pop Warner, I was always a running back. And coming into freshman year, I didn't think I could be able to find a spot on the field. So I transitioned over to the line, and it's one of the best decisions I've made to this day. And I'm really glad I did that. Really looking forward to going into my senior year.
That's awesome. Did you play with Bryce before as well?
I did play with Bryce. We've all played together, but I've played with Charlie every season I've ever played a football.
That's awesome. It's truly a brotherhood, right?
Yep.
Oh, for sure.
Yep.
That's
the most
really
painful 8 years I've ever experienced.
Nice.
Come on.
Little brotherly love. I love it. All right, so it is a football podcast, so let's talk a little bit about your favorite football memory, and that could be all the way back from Pop Warner all the way up until last season, whatever your favorite football memory is. And Charlie, we're going to start with you.
Well, my favorite moment was definitely my freshman year. We were playing Marquette, and it was a really rainy game, and I was tight end, and it was right before the end of the first half. And I took my gloves off, because they're just not as good in the rain. So I wanted to use my bare hands to catch passes. And Nick gets into the huddle. He calls Ohio, which is like a deep ball play for us. And I was super excited, because I wanted to get that touchdown before half. So I ran down, and I was wide open in the end zone, and I caught the ball, my first ever touchdown. And I wanted to celebrate, so I jumped up really high in the air like a little girl. My first ever touchdown. It was really funny. It's definitely my favorite moment.
Was that in Marquette?
No, that was at home.
Oh, even better.
Flivver Field.
Even better. That's
exactly.
Awesome. Let's see. Isaac, let's go to you. What's your favorite football memory?
I'm cheating. I have two. One of my favorites definitely is of Mr. Bryce Wenzel. I believe it was our sophomore year when we were playing Escanaba. They have their signature hook and ladder, and our man read it perfectly and laid out. It was one of the best hits I've ever seen in high school football. So shout out to you, Bryce. And my next favorite was the Menominee game last year. It was probably the most fun football game I've ever played in my life because it was close and it was tight, and you really felt the brotherhood, especially on the offensive line. And it was just a nail biter all the way to the end.
And that game in particular, there was a lot on the line for the Flivvers. And if you go back a few podcast episodes in season 21, I talk about it. But if the Flivvers win that game, they get a share of the GNC title. And if they lose, Menominee gets it outright. So there was that on the line. That also put 6 wins for us. And that was just a huge pride game, right? And it went right down to the last second with Brody Kopp catching a touchdown from Michael Meneguzzo with just a little bit of time left. That was awesome. That's a great memory, Isaac. Thanks for sharing that. Bryce, the myth, the man, the legend with the hook and ladder stop. Let's hear it. What was your favorite football memory?
I'm going to go a little bit different of a route, not in game necessarily, but our West Iron camp last season, or in the summer, I should say. That was the hottest 2 days of summer, 2 or 3 days of summer, and we were all done with the first day of whatever it was, 6 hours of football with a few breaks in between. We got to the campsite where we were all staying, and we all immediately, no discussion of it, just all immediately ran into the water and enjoyed a nice little swim. Yeah, I just loved that moment. Everybody was like, just knew exactly what to do, and it was a little bit of non-communication, but we were all on the same page.
That's awesome. And that's where, football is a brotherhood, and anybody who's ever played it knows that. And you do a lot of communication that doesn't have to be spoken, right? Especially offensive line wise, you just know where if somebody lines up in a certain spot, 2 guys next to each other, you just know what has to be done, even if that means jumping in Chicagoland Lake. Or were you guys at Bowiewicz State Park, or were you at Chicagoland?
Where were we?
I don't even remember the name.
I couldn't tell you, but it was fun. And yeah. That's all I could tell you about that campsite. Nice. It was a great time.
All right. So this is a football podcast. We love talking football, but you 3 are also just members of the community, members of Kingsford High School. So I want to hear about what are some of your favorite things that you do, whether that's at work or at school or with your family, that doesn't revolve around football. So Isaac, we're going to start with you this time.
I really enjoyed starting with both Bryce and Charlie. I'm really close with a lot of people stemming from football and just have relationships with them, friendship relationships with them outside of the game, and just hanging out with some of my buddies that I've acquired at Kingsford. And it's just a really amazing thing that I think we have the culture at Kingsford, not only as a school, but as a community, and just being able to be with some of these amazing people that are here with us.
You bring up that culture. When I was teaching at Woodland, it extends all the way down there too. You go on a Friday and you see little first graders are wearing their Flivver jerseys. And I don't know if any of you had the option because of the COVID and whatnot to actually go down to Woodland for a pep rally. But those youngsters are all about it, and they love Flivver football. And it goes all the way from them all the way up to the 80-year-old, former player, community member in the stands. And you're absolutely right about the culture here at Kingsford. It's really an amazing place to be, and it's an amazing place to be an athlete. Thanks for sharing that. Bryce, we're going to go with you. What is your favorite non-football thing here at Kingsford?
I'd say that's a tough one, because I agree with Frank totally that just hanging out with friends, you get to meet them at school and you got all the classes, but I'd have to say definitely hanging out with Isaac and Charlie, spending weekends at camp, hanging out. just meeting them in school and then taking that in school, in football relationship outside of school and hanging out and having fun with them, having friends for life.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And like we said before, it really is a brotherhood without a doubt. Whether you have brothers or sisters of your own, biological, like once you set foot in that locker room, you have 40 more, right? So that's awesome. Thanks for sharing. All right, Charlie, you're up. What's your favorite non-football thing about attending Kingsford?
Well, Isaac and Bryce hit the nail on the head pretty well there. I 100% agree with them. Love hanging out with those guys. And, 8 years of football with Isaac, that's really special. You spend that much time with someone playing the sport that you love. And it's going to be really tough walking away after my last season here. And we just got to make the last one the best one, it's all just being with the boys.
Yeah. And I hear that a lot. I talk with a lot of people on this podcast and I get a lot of the same, exactly what you three are talking about. And that's great. And that's not going to end when you walk away from here. Right. And that's probably the coolest thing about high school football is those bonds that you build. And Charlie, you kind of segued us perfectly about this is your last year. This is your last go at high school football. And I know you three have been working extremely hard in the weight room and running and doing those things to get better. But let's talk about after. Fast forward a year from now, all three of you will be graduated. What is your plan after high school? And Charlie, I'm going to go ahead and start with you since you kind of segued perfectly.
Well, definitely want to play some college football, that'd be really fun. But my plan before, that kind of came up for me that the idea for college football, my plan is to probably go to Michigan State and try to go into pre-med, try to become like, get into like surgery, that kind of stuff. It's going to be tough, but definitely want to try and get into that if I don't end up playing college football right after high school.
Wow, that's pretty awesome. Isaac, what is your plan after high school?
After high school, I'm looking at applying to Michigan Tech and their ROTC program and get a mechanical engineering degree from there. And as of right now, I'm looking at pursuing a career in the military, specifically the Army.
Engineer still?
Yep.
I got a song I can teach you later about that.
All right. Sounds good, Coach.
Not on the podcast.
Sounds great.
All right. Bryce, what's your plan after high school?
I plan attending Michigan Tech if I can, if I can get accepted, and then trying to pursue a degree in mechanical engineering.
So you and Isaac at it again, hey?
Oh yeah, never stops.
You can't get away from me.
That's awesome. All right, so we're kind of coming to the end, but before I let the three of you go, you all have experienced a lot of football and you're coming up on your senior year, your last year. And I'm telling you right now, it's going to go fast. So enjoy every second of it, which I know the three of you will. But what I would like to hear your advice that you have for that freshman that's just coming into our program, or maybe even a middle schooler who's playing Pop Warner football, who's thinking about playing high school football. I want to know, what words of wisdom do you have for them? Because you three have been through it. And now, is there anything you look back on, something that you want to make sure that they know? And Isaac, we're going to start with you.
I think that for me, one of the most important things about going into football was learning how to make it fun for me. Anywhere from the weight room, it's not just a chore that you have to do all throughout the summer. It's an opportunity both to better yourself and to be with some of your great friends. And I think one of the big problems is a lot of people go and they see, oh, this is a task that I just have to do. I just have to get it over with. And they don't make it fun. And I think that's where a lot of people are with sports. They're like, oh, I got to go to practice, or, oh, I got to go lift. And they don't see it as an opportunity to have fun. I think that's one of the biggest things you can do, both to be better and to make a lot of relationships and connections, is to, instead of looking at things as chores, look at it as an opportunity.
Awesome. And sometimes you got to make your own fun. That happens. All right, Charlie, how about you? What's some advice you have for that up and coming freshman football player?
Lift weights, do everything you can in the off season, and it goes fast. It goes really fast, and you don't want to procrastinate. You got to get in the work right away, because there's other people that are working harder than you, no matter what. And you got to put your mind to it and get on the field, because it's going to be over. It's going to be over fast, way faster than you think it'll be. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, that's a great point. And I got to brag on you a little bit, Charlie. I really do. So if you're listening to this podcast, or if you're watching on YouTube, Charlie works at the school, and on Mondays and Wednesdays, he will be out mowing grass at the school. He pulls his mower right up to the field house, and he jumps right into the weight room, either in a workout, lifting weights, or running. And then he gets right back on his mower and goes back to work. And I know your boss is super flexible about that stuff. But I really appreciate it, because you could find a way to not do that, but you found a way to make it work. And that's awesome. That's awesome. Looks like we lost Isaac. Maybe he'll come back, but Bryce, go ahead and tell us what's some advice you have for some up and coming Flivver football players.
For starters, I just want to compliment. Last Wednesday, I saw those lines out there, Charlie. I wasn't sure if that was you. I'm pretty sure it was. They looked pretty good. All I gotta say.
Oh yeah,
as for the little ones, I'd say hard work and dedication pays off. Enjoy it. It goes by quick, and you want to savor every last moment of it.
No, that's great advice. And Isaac, you've come back to us, but now you're sideways, which I would expect nothing less. There we go.
Okay, that's just how I am, Coach. A little bit different.
Yeah, that'll happen. All right, fellas. Well, it's been an awesome conversation. I really appreciate you guys taking the time to come on, and I'll see you in the weight room.
All right, see you, Coach.
See you, Coach.
Well, that was Isaac, Charlie, and Bryce, and you can see them this fall, Friday nights, out on Flivver Field. And as always, I ask that you go on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, like us, follow us, share us, so that everybody can experience the Kingsford Flivver Flash. Until next time, this is Coach Van Dusen. Win in the classroom, win in the community, and win on the field.